Celebrity Roast, coming to you from the MGM Grand Hotel in the entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Ladies and gentlemen, from the beautiful Ziegfeld Room, tonight's star-studded roast has brought together some of the world's greatest entertainers. They've come from all over the world to be here tonight. Here in Las Vegas, in person, joining Dean Martin as he honors tonight's very special Man of the Hour, Jack Klugman. With tonight's guests, Connie Stevens, Tony Randall, Dick Martin, LaWanda Page, Don Rickles, Joey Bishop, Katherine Helmond, Robert Guillaume, Milton Berle, Abbe, Phyllis Diller, Red Buttons, Foster Brooks, Dr. Joyce Brothers, and your roastmaster, Dean Martin. With tonight's Man of the Hour, Jack Klugman.
We are all gathered at my pal Kirk Kerkorian's beautiful MGM Hotel in Las Vegas to honor Jack Klugman. Now, this should be a great evening. For one thing, I sobered up yesterday, and NBC is going to show it as a big event. Though Jack has appeared on Broadway, television, and motion pictures, he is the most underrated talent in show business, and deservedly so. But it is with great sincerity that I say I don't know of any other actor in the business that could touch him or want to. Our guest of honor was born in the city of Philadelphia. Now, it's not easy growing up in Philadelphia. Crime there is so bad that if you're not home by 9 o'clock, your wife can have you declared legally dead. He's still a degenerate gambler. The other day at the racetrack, we were both eating a hot dog. He said to me, "I'll bet I'll beat you by half a length." He picked 7 horses for me that day, and they all lost. I finally picked the winner in the 8th, but my horse was disqualified for having a battery under the saddle. Personally, I believe the jockey's story. He said the horse was hard of hearing. Jack, something occurred to me while I was watching Quincy, your show the other night. You don't know how to choose your roles. If you're going to play a doctor, why didn't you become a gynecologist? Milton Berle is known as Mr. Television. Milton's the man of a million jokes. All of them belong to other people. I'm only kidding. This is the man that started it on vaudeville and on TV. My good buddy, Mr. Milton Berle.
Thank you. Dino, thank you very, very much. Your monologue was never funnier. It's a shame. He's a beautiful man. I gave him a cigarette lighter for his birthday, drank the whole thing down in one gulp. Good evening, Jack Klugman fans, and any other minority groups that are watching. Nice to be here for Jack. Nice. Personally, I'd rather spend 2 weeks locked in an attic with Chuck Barris. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to praise Jack Klugman, not to bury him. Of course, the vote was very close. Subject. How did they ever make you a medical examiner? Fine doctor. One day I saw him spill Vaseline. is ridiculous. Klugman, a doctor. That does not make sense. Now, Dr. David Rubin. Now, there is a doctor. You all remember him? He wrote that book, Everything You Want to Know About Sex, but he left out the most important thing. Where to get it. Ashley Johnson, now they're legitimate doctors. I remember in their book they said that 67% of women have extramarital relations. That's not good enough for me. I gotta have names. All right, now take another doctor, the great Dr. DeBakey. Now he says that normal sex is safe after a heart attack. Personally, I think it would be best to wait an hour or two. Connie Stevens, gorgeous. She is no stranger to Vegas. She spent a lot of years here playing in the big hotels. Not in the showrooms, just playing in the hotels. And Tony Randall, who I've known for many years, and may I say, he's never changed, which is a big savings on his laundry. God bless you. I love you all. Thank you very much.
Mr. Milton Berle. Always great. Always great. Milton, you're good. Always great. Now, you be sure to look in on NBC on March 26th. They're giving a big tribute to Mr. Berle, and I tell you, he sure deserves one. Introduce the very talented lady who plays Mrs. Jessica Tate on the popular television show Soap. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Miss Katherine Helmond.
I believe I know that gentleman over there that escorted me up to the dais.
Oh, that's Milton Berle.
The one that took you.
Oh, Milton Berle.
Yes.
I've never heard of him. What does he do?
You never heard of Uncle Milty? Well, he had the biggest show in the history of television. He was Mr. Tuesday Night.
Oh, isn't that a coincidence? I mean, my husband on Soap also was Mr. Tuesday Night. You know, Mr. Klugman, our shows are really very different because, I mean, on your show, you know, it's a whodunit. But, of course, on Soap, everybody's done it. Such a thrill for me to be here because, you know, this is my very first time ever to be in Las Vegas. And I guess this is the right place to roast Mr. Klugman because, you see, I heard at one time he was a very heavy gambler. And I'm very happy to say that that's all over now. And he joined, of course, Gamblers Anonymous, but he switched to Gamblers Alias, and that way he could still gamble under somebody else's name. The thing that I like most about Las Vegas is that it's such a family town. I saw this beautiful young girl, about 20 years old, and she was with her grandfather. He was so sweet to her. He gave her a $100 bill, and she wasn't even gambling. Around the casino, and Mr. Martin came along, and he's such a gallant gentleman. He offered to buy me a drink, and he even offered to let me see his room. As a matter of fact, he offered about 12 times. And finally he said to me, well, at least come up for a nightcap. And I said, oh, well, I'd love to, but I never wear anything on my head when I sleep. His room anyway, just, you know, in case I changed my mind. But I went to see Tom Jones instead. Boy, what a great act he has. Except at the end, all the women started throwing keys up on the stage. And, well, I had left my key, you know, at the desk, so I just threw Mr. Martin's key up there. Wasn't that a nice surprise when Tom Jones came to your room at 3 a.m.? Oh, talking about rooms. Mine is just beautiful. It's so elegant. Except they gave me a room that has a mirror in the ceiling over the bed. And I was very upset. Do you know it took me over an hour to get dressed flat on my back?
Thank you very much. My next guest is half a comedy team. Oh, is Jerry? As half of the comedy team of Rowan and Martin. Scared the hell out of me, man. The guys who put the laughs in laughing, you know, Rowan and Martin. He and Dan Rowan were partners for the past 27 years. Now, Dan's doing real well as a sportscaster in Florida, and his buddy Dick Martin has a whole new career as a director. Mr. Dick Martin, the director.
Thank you very much. I'd like to start by saying that Jack is one of the kindest men I've ever met. He's intelligent, warm, witty, and a very good friend. And I'd like...
Dick, hold it, Dick, hold it.
I don't know you well enough to hold it.
Now, this is the worst. You're supposed to insult the guest.
I can't do that. Jack's a sweet man. In order to insult somebody, you've got to know something about him he has weaknesses, flaws, obvious faults. Yeah, I could insult you. Yeah, come here. You have faults. What about your gambling?
I don't gamble anymore.
Huh?
The last time I was in the casino, I lost $50.
How?
She gave me the wrong room key.
Why, must we?
Yeah.
All right.
Now say something insulting about him.
Well,
Like he's sloppy or something, you know.
well, how sloppy is he?
He's so sloppy. His clothes came back from the laundry marked rejected.
Jack has done some wonderful things in his career.
His career? He's starting to talk like me.
All right, if you want me to insult, come here now. Don't. Dean, come here. If you want me to insult Jack Klugman, tell me something about him. Give me a for instance.
Well, he comes from Philadelphia.
Philadelphia, what a... Oh! That's wild. I used to date a girl from Philadelphia. As a matter of fact, they named a street after her.
What street is that?
Broad Street.
You know, that's a coincidence. Because I once dated a girl from a Caribbean island or Caribbean island.
Yeah?
Either one you want to use.
Jamaica?
I don't know. I hardly knew her.
Oh!
We may go on the road. Did you know Jack Klugman has his footprints in cement outside Grauman's Chinese Theater?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was sitting on the curb,
Yeah.
and a bus ran over his feet.
Let's get back to the girl.
All you can think of.
Well, of course. I always have a beautiful girl on the string.
The one you were with last night should have been on a leash. Her head was out the window.
Look, if I'm going to insult Jack Klugman, I need a reason. Now, come on, give me a good reason.
Well, I don't know what to tell you. Jack's a man's man.
Well, don't let Anita Bryant find out.
I suppose you come home late at night,
Yeah.
you get in bed with your wife,
Yeah.
and there lying next to her is Jack Klugman, what would you say to him then?
Good night, Jack. Good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, my pal, Red Buttons. Red Buttons! And he's coming! Little dinner, Red Buttons!
Ladies and gentlemen, the question tonight is, why are we giving this slob dinner? A man who has it in his will that when he goes, he wants to be cremated and the ashes thrown into Tony Randall's face. Why then, I repeat and reiterate, are we giving this card-carrying slob a dinner when some of the biggest people in the history of the world never got a dinner? Adam, who said to Eve in the Garden of Eden, of all the people I know, I like you best. Dracula, who said when they drove a stake through his heart, I spell relief R-O-L-A-I-E-S. The referee who said the Leon Spinks in the Ali fight, no gumming in the clinches. Congressman Hayes, who said, if I am elected again, I will hire a typist. William of Orange, who said on his wedding night, now that's what I call a navel. Medusa, who said, when she saw the snakes growing out of her head, look, Ma, Phyllis Diller. Haley, the author of Roots, who traced his family all the way back to the rear of the bus. Never got a dinner. Murray Xerox, the inventor of the Xerox machine, who said to his wife, Zelda Xerox, it's easy. If you want another baby, make a copy of Irving. Never got a dinner. This man gets a dinner. Anwar Sadat, who said to Menachem Begin in Cairo, no, that's not a camel. That's Dolly Parton lying on her back.
Mr. Joey Bishop.
Here we are in Las Vegas. I just heard a conversation at the casino. I couldn't believe what I heard. Two guys talking. One guy says, how you doing here? The other guy says, one day I win, one day I lose. The other guy says, don't be stupid. Play every other day. These stars, all of them, came here for one purpose, to honor you tonight. And that should be a thrill for two kids from South Philadelphia. Phyllis Diller, who left intensive care to be here. Joyce brothers, who gave herself the wrong advice and showed up. Milton Berle, who gave up the Gong Show. As a contestant, to be here. and red buttons who gave up at dinner. Just to be here. Indeed, God bless him, who walked all the way from his dressing room just to be here. You look terrific, and your eyes are clear. What are you drinking, Windex?
Joyce has become kind of a regular on our show because she is a real funny lady, and I love her. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss LaWanda P.
I didn't intend to be on this dais for Jack Klugman. But I was in Las Vegas all last week, and as long as I was on a losing streak, I figured I might as well show up for him. For a doctor, honey, you sure are one hokey-honky. I remember the show when they brought in this guy with a knife in him, and you said he died of natural causes. Is really something else. Before a date, honey, she puts on a wig, false eyelashes, padded brow, support stockings, arch supports. Then she tell you she's looking for a real man. You get out of my face, Joey Bishop. Mr. Klugman, why don't you do an autopsy on him? His personality passed away. Click that grinning bucktooth Berle. You said with my lips I could give the Grand Canyon mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. I don't know what goes on in that morgue of yours, Klugman. I once saw you holding a stethoscope to a man's chest. You wasn't listening to his heart. You were getting the race results on his pocket radio. Remember the time they brought in a soul brother? He was in bad way. But you kept him alive until his welfare check came in. Now, if I were you, Mr. Klugman, I wouldn't take playing coroner too seriously. Because you're going to get into some real trouble. Just the other day, I saw you lift a sheet, and it was so embarrassing. Because it was on an Arab in a department store.
Most people don't know that during his lean years in New York City, Jack Klugman had a secret source of income. Here to tell you the tragic story is the secret source herself. The generous, oh, here goes my head again. Gladys Ormfee.
Klugman. Oh, dear. Oh, I love you. You're so handsome. So adorable. So manly. Oh, I just love you.
I liked it better when you hit me.
man. He had just come off the streets of Philadelphia to New York City. Broke, struggling, and I felt sorry for him. A starving actor. So I took him to my bosom.
And he was still starving, huh?
When we got to his place, I asked him for a kiss. Do you know what he did? He made me take a saliva test. I knew all along that Klugman was using me, but like a fool, I didn't care. I gave him whatever he wanted. I offered him my jewels, my money, even my body.
He should have taken the first two.
Oh! There's nothing false about me.
There's nothing real either.
I always tried to look beautiful for him. I used lotions, creams, and mud packs. Ladies and gentlemen, I took so many Please don't laugh, ladies and gentlemen. We all make mistakes. I took so many mud packs, grass grew under my chin. Wasn't going in. One day he said he was leaving me. He had been around horses all his life and wanted a change. And do you know what he did, Dean?
What?
The ingrate. He threw me to the dogs.
Yeah, and the dogs threw you back.
Well, that was the end of everything between us. But it wasn't all bitterness.
You're in the same seats with me.
Ladies and gentlemen, I must say this about him. When it comes to making love, he's a winner. He always finishes first.
And now here's the man who plays the butler on that new hit comedy show, Soap. As the butler, his whole day is a series of orders, demands, and threats. But he ain't taking them. He's giving them. He's a regular cute guy with a delivery all his own. I know you're going to enjoy Robert Guillaume.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, too, Dean. You probably don't remember me, but I tended bar one night at your house. Man, I never saw such action in all my life. Ice cubes, ice buckets, ice tongs, bourbon. I must have served 1,000 drinks, and you were the only one there. For those of you who watch Soap, you know me. I play Benson, the butler, to a house full of fools. The wife fools with this one, the husband fools with that one, and but ain't none of them fooling me. Nice to be here. Down to Mr. Jack Klugman. I'll tell you how I first met him. One time he put an ad in the paper for a houseman, a houseboy, and like a fool, I went and answered it. I wasn't too happy about the job title, but I went anyway. And let me tell you, he wanted somebody to help him around the house. Yeah, I never saw such a house in my life. That man had swept so much dirt under the rug, it was an uphill walk to the kitchen. You never saw such a messy place in your life. Well, I guess I shouldn't complain too much. It could have been worse. At least I never had to do the windows. I looked for him. Whenever my friends would complain about the terrible living conditions in the ghetto, I just run them through Jack's place. That'd cool them right out. And you know something else? Jack's friends are all as sloppy as he is. I still remember how they used to sit around the dining room table covered with all kinds of food stains, spattered with gravy, and I hadn't even served dinner yet. And the dust. Klugman's house was so full of dust, one night I was serving a chicken and it coughed. Look at that face. Look at it. Look at that face. You ever seen anything like that? Even if he was black, he wouldn't be beautiful. I just want to say one more thing, Jack. Everybody knows how much you love the racehorses, and I can see why they say you're such a great handicapper. Because in my whole life, I never met a man who's got more handicaps than you do. Thank you.
Special surprise. A woman who was a neighbor of Jack Klugman while he was growing up. She practically raised him. Here from apartment 3B on Walnut Street in Philadelphia is Mrs. Katherine Kearney.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you. Oh, my goodness, look. The years have been good to you, Jack. Oh, darling. Better now than you did in Philadelphia. Oh, Jack, it must be the makeup they use on television. It changes your appearance.
I'm Dean Martin.
You changed your name, too. Well, I guess a lot of people in show business do that, huh?
That's Jack Klugman.
Jackie, oh, forgive me. Oh, Jackie, I haven't seen you in such a long time. Even when I watch Quincy, I never see your face. You're down in the morgue with your head under the sheet. He always looks like a motel manager telling the couple who the hour is up. Excuse me if I'm all filled with emotion, but, you know, I almost raised this boy. His mother found him very difficult to handle. He was such a rotten kid. So I felt sorry for the mother, and I helped out. I practically raised him. Let me tell you, it wasn't easy. He's not an easy boy to bring up. He was never good in school. As a matter of fact, they wanted to expel him. But if you're never in school, how can you get expelled? Isn't that true, Mr. Martin?
No, I never had any trouble in school. I was a monitor. I used to empty the inkwell. You know, the worst tasting stuff I ever had.
Listen, Mr. Martin, Jack only gave me a ticket on the plane for one way. Could you get me on Let's Make a Deal? Maybe I'll win a trip back to Philadelphia. I'll be leaving after the refreshments. Goodbye, Jackie.
I'm sure you all recognize Miss Kay Best, ladies and gentlemen. Our next guest is not only a beautiful and talented singer, she's a wonderful actress as well. Please welcome the lovely Miss Connie Stevens.
When I was invited to appear on this dais, I got a biography of Jack from the producers of his show, Quincy. So, surprise. First of all, it's a good enough biography, but I'd like to supply some little-known facts about our guest of honor as I go along. First of all, it says here, Jack Klugman was born in Philadelphia. Now, you all know that is true. And you'd be very surprised how well Jack is remembered in his old neighborhood, too. Just the mention of his name, people's faces, they just break out into this great big yawn. Now, in the interest of honesty, I went to Philadelphia and checked a couple of these things out. While I was there, I asked some of his old teachers, was Jack really an A student? They said yes. He was A dope, A bum, and A loud. It says here, Jack Klugman is also one of America's 10 best-dressed men. Totally false. He is not a good dresser. He's not very neat at all. You should see the way he looks when he gets home at night. Shirt all wrinkled, hair messy, stained face, a face dirty, stained ties, just the way he left in the morning. In fact, Jack could clean up a room just by leaving it.
Is a patient, sensitive, cultured intellectual who managed to survive 5 years with our guest of honor, the next half of the odd couple, Tony Randall.
Thank you, Dean. I'm sorry if I seem angry, but I've been sitting on this dais listening to the opprobria, the contempt with which my former beloved colleague has been held. They've called him a slob. Jack Klugman listed in the yellow pages as slob. He has been called unkempt slovenly, with the table manners of a starving vulture. And these are the opinions of his friends. Ladies and gentlemen, I've had dinner with this man many times. He slurps steak. I will concede that he is a woman chaser and a gambler. He's his own worst enemy, which proves he has some sense of values. There's love in his heart. He has been criticized for sleeping with his dog. The scratching all night doesn't bother Jack. He knows the dog will get used to it sooner or later. Before I go, there's one more rumor I'd like to put to rest. Jack puts on a clean pair of socks every day. At the end of the week, he can hardly get his shoes on. Roast, it's nice to kid around, and I like all the jokes, and some of them apply and some of them don't. They're all exaggerated. But I didn't like at all the jokes about you not being a good actor. You're a whale of an actor, buddy.
Any friend of Jack's knows that he loves to play the horses. With us tonight is a famous breeder of thoroughbred horses, the owner of Green Gate Stables in Kentucky, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Dudley Withers III.
Jack Klugman finally got a dinner. However, this racing aficionado. It's easy for you to say. This, what he said, could have been a great rider, but riding horses always gave him a painful headache. For me, it was just the reverse. Lately, Jack has been so busy with his play acting, I haven't been able to give him a report of our racing business. I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is our six-year-old mare gave birth to a fine little colt. The bad news is she was in the starting gate at the time. Jack was foaled on Friday the 13th on South 13th Street, the 13th of 12 children. Stormy night, he was born. His mother, while walking under a ladder, stumbled over a black cat, broke a mirror, and saw the ghost of Jack's Uncle Max, who wasn't even dead yet. This sad series of events led to Jack's first nickname, Lucky. Jack, take my advice and stick to show business. You know nothing about good breeding.
On the NBC network this year is CPO Sharky. The shows have been consistently funny. It's gaining in popularity and is a big hit on NBC this season. One of the reasons for that is the star of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the world of hostility and abuse, Mr. Don Rickles.
What an exciting night. Jack Klugman. Why him a roast? Dull guy. Real dummy. Jack, take a good look at your face. You need surgery. You must have ran into a cab on an angle. But you got a lot of big names here tonight. Some of the greats turned out for you. Kay Medford, who had a very busy schedule in downtown Hollywood looking for bad apples. And Milton, my idol. Still here, Milt. Wonderful guy. 65 years in the business, huh? 65 years in show business and you don't want to walk away. It's all over, Milton. Grab a cab. And of course, Robert Guillaume. One of the great black actors of our time. It's good to have you here, Robert. And good luck in your people's plans to attack Ben Berene's house. Of course, Phyllis Diller. When we go on hunts, we run out of animals, we chase her. And Katherine Helmond. It's 2 in a row. She knows Robert Bullying. She's on Soap and does a great job. Plays a naive wife of a millionaire. It's a great show, Soap. I use it as a nightlight when the wife wants to take a move on me. You're a lovely woman, LaWanda, and good luck in your plans to go white. And Connie Stevens. If Ann Margaret takes a cab, you'll be hot in this business. You're a fun guy, Tony, but you need personality shots. Anyway, good luck to you, Jack, and your great plans to go busted. You're a fine actor, a dear friend, and I tell you, you're a guy's guy, and I love you for that. And my family loves you, and may you always be blessed with your great ability. Thank you, Jack.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you all to join me in a salute to a fella who's still very much alive and living, and he's always going to be at the top 10 on television because he's a fine actor, a wonderful man. He's not a slob. I love him, Mr. Jack Klugman.
I mean, I don't know what to say. It's a nice, real, marvelous thing that you did, traveling up here to Las Vegas to honor me. You have so many important things to do back in L.A., like trying to find your home. This affair is quite a departure from my Quincy series, because tonight the stiffs are sitting up. And Dick Martin, tonight you made us realize just how much we miss Dan Rowan. Ruth, Buzzi, hello, and Gladys Ormby I won't monkey around with, because, you know, her picture is now used on all the vasectomy posters. And to Robert Guillaume and Katherine Helmond, I just want to say, who the hell are you? Phyllis, Diller, Tony, and I owe a great, great deal, because it was her chest that inspired The Odd Couple. And it's nice to see Milton Berle here. He's been around such a long time. I believe he's the only man who actually played the King Tut. And of course, my pal Don Rickles, funny, it's C.P.O. Sharkey. I love that. I love that show because I always wondered what the Bilko show would look like in color and without humor. Tony Wren. Dear Tony Wren, 5 years. We shared the same spotlight and the same stage and the same heartbreaks and the same triumphs. And after 5 years, I don't know you any better than Robert Guillaume and Katherine Helmond. For a minute, because a lot of times, most of the times I'm asked, would you want your kids to go into show business? And I always say, why not? Where else can you meet such wonderful people, and especially for me, because I enjoyed it during the 5 years. It's not just in retrospect that I spent working with Tony. You can't buy it, find it, steal it, or anything. And I want to thank him and all of you for tonight. Thank you.